All right, this was an interesting night, and I want to capture my thoughts before I go to sleep. This book is called Hunting Hitler by Jerome Corsi, and I have not read it. I've skimmed a few chapters, but I think, and I feel a little bit uncomfortable commenting about the book because I haven't completely read it yet, but I think that it puts forth the idea that Hitler survived and made it to Argentina. Okay, but you need to read the book yourself. I plan on reading it as I have time. If Hitler had died on April 30th, 1945, the facts surrounding his death should have been easy to prove. So anyway, this is Jerome Corsi's book. Okay, but tonight I went and saw a guy talk by the name of David Irving. Hitler's place in history, Hitler's war. I'm not obsessed with Hitler. It's just, I like knowing a little bit about history, right? The Search for Truth in History by David Irving. David Irving Talking Frankly. David Irving, Winston Churchill. They put the guy in prison for over a year. Ruins of the Reich, Triumph of the Will, and Fatal Attraction of Adolf Hitler. Okay, so let me put this, I want to capture my thoughts real quick. Okay, so I spent the evening in a small restaurant in Arlington with a group of about 20 people or so, maybe less than that actually. And we listened to David Irving speak for about 2 hours. And I've got the whole thing in raw video. The challenge is that he speaks very softly, and I don't know how good the audio will come out. So I'll probably have to boost the audio, and I'll try to upload it if I get a chance. And, you know, like I said, I don't read tons and tons of books on Hitler and World War II. So I felt like I was probably the slowest guy in the room. I think I was the youngest guy. But he talked about Operation Reinhardt. And there were some surprising things that I picked up on. And like I said, I was probably the youngest and most uneducated person in the room regarding this. I mean, these people that showed up, I mean, you could tell they were like quasi-professional historians, man. It's like, you know, they could tell you about Treblinka and Auschwitz, and they could go into every single situation you ever wanted to know, man, it seems like. But I'm going to play a little clip here, and the surprising thing that I learned, I knew they put David Irving in prison for over a year for expressing unpopular beliefs about the Holocaust, and I thought David Irving made the comment several times during the course of the night that 6 million is probably in the ballpark. Now, he didn't say for sure. He said he kind of left it open. You know, he didn't come out with a hard number. But he just said that, you know, it's in the ballpark. What I do think the position that David Irving takes is that there were no gas chambers. Now, I need to really go back and listen to what he said, because I'm trying to make sure the camera doesn't turn off and try to take notes. And I haven't watched any of those videos that I put up. I mean, I've watched one maybe, but it's like a whole new area of study, and I don't even know if I want to put the time into it. But I'm just going to give you my highlights, and keep in mind I could be wrong on some things, okay? The highlights from listening to David Irving this is what I believe David Irving believes. And I could be wrong. I think that he does not question the number 6 million so much. I think that he leaves that open and says that 6 million could be in the ballpark. David Irving, I thought he would have a better relationship with David Duke, but when I questioned him about David Duke off camera, he seemed kind of distrustful of David Duke, right? I don't know where that came from, but I expected him to, you know, I don't know why. I just thought they would be friends, but I'm not saying they're not friends. It's just there seems to be a little issues there. I don't know what the cause of it is. That was a bit of a surprise. It was a bit of a surprise that he didn't question the 6 million number. I kind of thought David Irving, I always thought of him as like a Holocaust denier, and that he denied the number 6 million, but it didn't appear that was his big deal. The two things that he did put forth that I think goes against mainstream thought about the Holocaust is that I believe he doesn't think there were gas chambers, or that nobody was killed or not a large number of Jews were killed with gas chambers. He did talk quite a bit about being shot in the back of the head in ditches. Also, he spent a great deal of time, and you'll get to listen to it yourself, assuming I can get the audio loud enough where you can hear it, that Hitler himself did not know all of the murdering that was going on in these concentration camps, in these Jewish concentration camps. That Hitler's underlings, and hopefully I'll get the name right, maybe Himmler. I took some notes, man. It's like, I'm not... look up the word Rumbala, right? They talked about Rumbala quite a bit, and the biggest massacre of the war. And he said 28,000 Jews were killed in Rumbala. He talked about Operation Reinhardt. And I believe he said Himmler was responsible for a lot of these murders, but Hitler wasn't really aware of what was going on. Anyway, I just wanted to give you I should mention, at the beginning of the night, we had two men come into the room. And this is a small room, right? It's a small little room in the back of a restaurant. The way it's set up is you have to pay to go with your credit card, so they know everything about you. And then when you show, and then he lets you know the location of where he's going to speak like 24 hours before he shows up. So you can't like publicize it to the press. You can't publicize it to his enemies. But two people showed up that found out about the location. And one of them looked like an Arabic guy to me. He looked like an Arabic persuasion. One of them also looked like a young California beach bum with the blonde hair. Like he was an idealistic guy. And they probably looked to be in their late 20s, early 30s. And they went and sat right beside David Irving. This is at the beginning of the meeting. And they threw some kind of glass object down on the ground. And then they both stood up and started stomping on it. And they started yelling, Nazis stink, Nazis stink, Nazis stink. And they just stepped on this glass thing they threw on the ground. And it let out a rotten egg odor. So it filled up the whole room with a stinky rotten egg. And all this happened so fast that I didn't get a chance to get a camera out and capture it. But after they stomped on the glass and broke it and yelled Nazi stink about 3 or 4 times, they ran out of the room and they knocked over some chairs and, they just left, right? And so it was very childish and very immature. I didn't feel threatened because I just thought they were a couple of goofballs. But there was a lot of people in the room that it caused a little bit of pandemonium. But anyway, we had to put up with that stinky smell for a while. But it dissipated after, 15, 20 minutes, I guess. I'm just giving you my best recollection. But anyway, I got the video of him speaking. I'll try to upload the raw content later. I've tried to capture the highlight of my thoughts. Here is me where I asked David Irving about the 6 million Jew newspaper. He considered it a silly question, I guess. He said it was a coincidence and insignificant. The fact that there were 10 newspapers that were identifying the number 6 million Jews perishing or dying before Hitler even came to power. So you'll see his reaction. Also, I asked him about Jerome Corsi's book that Hitler actually survived and made it to Argentina. And he doesn't believe that at all. He said that he talked to, you'll get the guy's name, he even spells it, that carried the body of Hitler that died from a cyanide pill. What else? Anyway, I just wanted to get the highlights before I go to bed. I'm very, very tired and I got a big day tomorrow. I'm gonna splice this together with the David Irving clip where I ask him my silly questions. You'll get his reaction. Hopefully you can hear it. And for those of you that understand who David Irving is, he's written like 20, 25, 30 books on the subject of World War II. He's considered a very renowned historian, but because he doesn't go with the mainstream belief about the Holocaust, he spent a lot of time in jail. He's been banned from Canada. I'm sure he's banned in several countries. And it was just an interesting opportunity to get a chance to speak to the man. I don't know if he's a Christian or not. That's something you'll have to ask him personally. But I think that he believes what he says. Now, whether it's true or not, I don't know. I'm not saying that I believe everything David Irving says, of course, but I'm saying that after meeting the man and listening to him speak, I believe that he believes it, right? And I think that he thinks he's being as truthful as he possibly can be. He seemed to be a man of character, you know. I got that impression. But anyway, here's him and me asking my silly questions. And I'll try to get more footage up as I get time, but it's going to be a busy, busy week. May God bless the righteous, and may God bring justice to the wicked.
This is different right here. Just now.
Was they already there for some other reason?
Hey, Tommy, we got to finish.
Congressman that had them take that 5-ton deuce.
I'm sorry.
We got to finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I
all
think we're
right.
going to have to
I
finish
wasn't
it.
even looking.
I've just checked my time, it's 9:30. And they are packing the restaurant up at 9:30. So we have a couple of very quick questions, perhaps, but really very quick one-word answers.
Okay, I'll make it as quick as I can. You may have seen the video, or maybe others in the room have seen it, but there is a video on the internet where a gentleman produces 10 authentic newspapers, American newspapers, that say 6 million Jews.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
It's coincidence.
Coincidence, okay.
You could do that with probably any digit or any number you want.
Okay, very good.
It's insignificant, yes.
Thank you. A second question. Jerome Corsi wrote a book, indicates Hitler survived, actually made it to Argentina. Any comments about that?
I knew Otto Günscher. He was one of my first people I knew. Otto Günscher was Hitler's chief SS private adjutant. He himself carried Eva Braun's body up the staircase. He described to me how Heinzlinger carried Hitler's body up the staircase, wrapped in a blanket with the typical brown shoes sticking out of the bottom. He said that when he went back downstairs, he discovered that his tunic was smelling of cyanide, almonds. So he deduced that Eva Braun had swallowed cyanide. I mean, he gave me a long description. He actually drew a sketch for me of how the bodies were lying. There's no question at all. First time.
Okay.
I'm the only person who ever talked to him about Otto Günscher.
How do you spell that guy's name?
G-U-N-S-H-E.
G-U-E-N?
G-U-E-N-S-C-H-E. Günscher.
Got it.
He died a couple of years ago.
Right.
He's a very nice upright, stand-up guy. Very good. Two more questions in there.
Who's going to carry on all this work that you've done?
I'm carrying on. I'm still standing. They start talking in the past tense. I'm very annoyed. I get more and more emails nowadays from boy me saying, guys, you write to me saying, I first read your books 41 years ago. That's literally one that I got last week. I've been fascinated and I think to myself, okay, next. Yeah. But I'm glad to say a lot of youngsters write to me saying they're no longer believing, which is good.
Can we help you with your story with the United States?
What?
You've got some trouble with people letting you into the country. Can we help you at all?
One of the biggest problems I got is if I'm banned from the United States, I've got about 10 tons of possessions over here, kept in storage, including about 3 tons of the Goebbels book.
So that's yes?
Well, it costs money every month to pay for.
Okay,
And so I will then have to take radical decisions on that. But I'll cross each bridge when I get to it. I had a lady running a bookstore in Atlanta, but she got out after a year doing that. So I'm running it myself at present. No more questions. Good.
When you get the rest of your books out, or the ones that haven't been,
You always find all my books will be announced on irvingbooks.com. irvingbooks.com.
see, I pulled that up a number of years ago.
You're still there.
It didn't. I just found out, I think 2 years ago, that you were selling.
irvingbooks.com has all my books and products and talks and everything. It's a very, very good bookstore, so, which we. But after my first bookstore was smashed by hackers in 2009 with very serious damage. It took 6 months to repair that damage. We then rebuilt the bookstore entirely from the ground up, and that's the one you find under irvingbooks.com. And that will permanently be there, whether I'm in the United States or not. The only thing I'm sorry with, it's okay for you guys because you're in the United States, but the English hate it because they buy a book on that bookstore and they've got to pay postage from the United States. which ain't cheap. I mean, on Hitler's War, the postage was about $60. So they pay $40 for the book and $60 for the postage.
Hoorah.
Last thing.
Okay.
Last thing. I want to try to summarize what I learned, and just real quickly. I'm probably the slowest guy in the room, but you're not questioning the 6 million Jew number as far as 6 million Jews have died. You're questioning what Hitler knew, and also the existence of gas chambers. Do I have it right?
Not entirely right.
Not entirely,
On the
okay.
numbers, I'm very cautious, but you've seen what numbers are justified.
Okay,
Assuming that the people feeding the numbers into that system were not just doing the Viet Cong body count game.
okay, thank
Just
you.
exaggerating their own powers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.